going to see that God is fire. The Bible says that God is a fire. In Deuteronomy 4:24, in the Old Testament, it says, "For the Lord your God is a consuming fire." And in the New Testament, in Hebrews 12:29, it says, "For our God is a consuming fire." Old Testament God is the same as the New Testament God. He is a consuming fire. And we also see that Jesus came to send fire. It says in Luke 12:49, "I am come," Jesus said, "to send fire on the earth, and what will I if it be already kindled?" Jesus wanted to send fire. What is this fire? Ezekiel in the Old Testament said, "I saw visions of God," Ezekiel 1:1. And in verse 4 he said, "And I looked, and behold, a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof as the colour of amber, out of the midst of the fire." A man called William Greenhill and James Sherman wrote a book called An Exposition of the Prophet Ezekiel, and they said that a fire enfolding itself, or as the Hebrew word is, a fire doth put forth itself and receive itself into itself, like unto a wave of the sea that riseth high and falleth into itself again, or as in a house on fire, the fire breaks forth strongly and the flame returns into itself presently. So God is an enfolding fire. We also see many descriptions of God. His tongue is as a fire. Isaiah 30 verse 27. His lips are full of indignation, and his tongue is a devouring fire. In Revelation 1:14 we see his eyes as fire. His head and his hair were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. In Revelation 10:1, his feet are fire, and his face was it were the sun, and his feet as pillars of fire. What is this fire of God? It's a fire enfolding itself. It's his presence. Fire, what is it? It requires three elements: oxygen, heat, and fuel. And we see God is a fire. He is the oxygen, the air. He is the heat. He is the fuel. He burns. He is like a fire that burns everything except himself. Anything that is not of him will be consumed in his presence. The fire of his presence is he himself, his word, his holiness, his power, his light, his judgment, his glory. And in the next few days, we'll look at how God works and how God manifests himself and his presence as fire.